what do you think is the most common type of dementia? What do you think is the most common type of dementia?
Alzheimer's?
Yeah, good guess. Okay, well, we might as well just get right into it. Yes, you are correct. Alzheimer's is the most common. And if you think of dementia as the umbrella, right? So the umbrella's up top, and then all the 400 dementias all fall underneath it. Look at how much of a block that Alzheimer's takes up, 60 to 80%. Why is that so a big of a jump from 60 to 80? That's because a lot of times people are not, they're misdiagnosed, or they're not diagnosed at all. They just like, oh yeah, they live in the country, he's a bit senile, and they just leave it at that, and they don't actually even get diagnosed. So we don't really know exactly, but it's 60 to 80% of dementias, of all dementias, are Alzheimer's. So that's a huge number. Now, who can guess what the second most common dementias? So now I just sort of think like, what other ones are there? So you can take a guess. Do you guys want to try and take a guess without Googling?
Vascular?
Yeah.
Vascular?
Yeah. Okay. What, Violet, do you have an idea? No?
No clue.
Yeah. So Bonnie, you're right on it. Bonnie, would you like to teach the class? I mean,
No, not at all. I just know that there's a few and Lewy body, and then I'm done.
Yeah, it. And you know what? That's exactly. Those are the three that I know from being a nurse. I know about vascular dementia, because vascular dementia, so just so everybody's aware, it can usually develop if you've had a pretty significant stroke. When you have that significant stroke, you have oxygen deprivation to your brain. And when you don't get the oxygen, then, part of your brain kind of dies, right? It doesn't get oxygen. And then, you're just kind of like recuperating from this stroke. And then all of a sudden you start to notice that you're having some issues, lapses and stuff with your memory, and things aren't coming back, and you develop vascular dementia. So this is the number 2. Now I don't have the percentages for this one, but it's pretty popular. So isn't it good to know then, if you've got family with dementia, what type of dementia they have? Because if you have vascular dementia, that's very greatly related to your environment and your lifestyle. So if you've got Uncle Joe and Uncle John, you got 2 uncles with dementia, and you're just like, oh my gosh, am I going to get dementia? Well, maybe they both have vascular dementia, which is very directly related to their lifestyles. And maybe your lifestyle is completely different. So keep that in mind. All right. So who here thinks that dementia is just part of normal aging? Now, it seems to me that, as we age, we see more and more dementia. So is that the case? Is it part of normal aging? A lot of people would say, yeah, it does seem like it's kind of part of normal aging, or pretty popular with aging. So the real answer is no. Dementia is not necessarily part of normal aging. We see a lot of it, but it's not normal. It's not the norm. Now, we do talk about things like this, and I say this. In fact, most of us, this is the good news, most of us will have good memories right up until we, throughout our life, and until we pass. And so, you're going to remember those fun stories from childhood. You're going to remember the goofy guy that you used to work with, one of your coworkers. You're going to remember details of things. Now, we're going to get into it about how maybe our memory's not as sharp as when we were 20, but definitely most of us will keep our good memories. And it is not inevitable. It is not inevitable. So I want you to really take that in. It is not inevitable that you're going to get dementia, because gosh, nobody wants to, nobody wants to like forget their spouse, or forget their name of their kid, or not recognize somebody, all those things that we get fearful of. All right. So, but let's keep it real. We're going to keep it real here. About 40% of us, 40% of us, once we hit age 65, we're going to experience some type of memory loss. But what we call that, not one of the 400 dementias, it's not anything to do with that, but we call that age-associated memory impairment. So if somebody says, yeah, dementia is part of old age, no, it's not. But there is about 40% that's going to have some kind of age-associated memory impairment. Now, okay, so is everybody good with me? Is all right? Yeah, okay. So this is the number one question I get asked. I used to get asked when I was a nurse, and I still get asked when people know that I work in healthcare. I have a family member with Alzheimer's. Does that mean I'm going to get it too? Because we are all frightened of Alzheimer's. No one of us want to get Alzheimer's. In some ways, I think about my mom, you know, bless her heart, she's passed away now. She was young too. Like she was 71. She was so young. And she got a rare cancer. That's what happened with her. But in some ways, I feel like knowing that you're dying, like knowing that you've got cancer in your body, that's not curable, because it was kind of around her stomach and everywhere. We went from the uterus to the stomach. She knew she was dying. And in some ways, from the day we knew she was sick to the day she died was exactly to the day 365 days. So, you know, August 17th was the day that she was diagnosed, and August 17th is the day she died, the year later. But in some ways, I feel like, okay, my mom is safe. She's not in pain anymore. She's not struggling. Could you imagine when, if, and it could have happened to some of you, your family member actually gets Alzheimer's? The dread of them being alive, but sort of losing their personality, losing themselves, because when Alzheimer's progresses, it starts to affect in that sense where maybe your loved one doesn't even recognize you anymore. And they're not even like the same person, but they're still alive. I weighed the two things and I thought, well, which one would I rather have? Would I want my loved ones to see me and I'm like in the nursing home or wherever I am, and I don't even recognize, I don't even know how to turn the TV on anymore, like, for example. So nobody wants to get Alzheimer's, nobody. They've done studies. Would you rather get Alzheimer's or cancer? And guess what most people say? They don't want to get Alzheimer's. They don't want it.
Cancer.
So
Cancer.
yeah, they'd rather get cancer, which is horrible in itself. But anyways, so the answer to the question, I'm going to ask the question again. The person says, I have a family member with Alzheimer's. Does that mean I'm going to get it too? The answer is, simple answer is no. No. Because Alzheimer's disease is actually what we consider or call sporadic. And the term sporadic in this case means that it does not run in families. It doesn't run in families. So, but I want to just preface that by saying, because I know there's people that do have family members with Alzheimer's and it does run in their family and they are worried about it. They have a sister or two sisters or a mom and a sister or brother or whoever. About 5%, very low, about 5% of people will have this inherited type of Alzheimer's, which is like from the genetics, the genes that get passed down to the person, and they may get this what we call familial, so like familial type of Alzheimer's. But really, most people don't have this. They don't have the gene in their family.